So firstly, I want to welcome you all here. It's so nice to see familiar faces, some unfamiliar faces. My name's Taylor, and I'm part of the Reimagining Dementia Coalition, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Waterloo in Canada, studying collaborative songwriting with people living with dementia to challenge stigma. So today, I'm just going to go through what we're doing today, and then we're going to have some fun. So we have an hour together. And so our plan for today is we're going to offer a brief introduction to the coalition, because I'm not sure if we've all been here before. Some of us might be new. We're going to do a creative exercise led by Margot. And then we're going to share some information about the campaign we have going, taking it to the streets. And that's planned for the week of September 18th to 24th. And it coincides with World Alzheimer's Week. And then we're going to break into small breakout groups and discuss some ideas for the campaign and what we can do in our own communities. So for those of us who are new to the coalition, I just wanted to share some information. So it was formed in 2020 in response to the number of COVID-related deaths associated with long-term care, residential care homes, with the majority of people dying being persons living with dementia. So during this time, we had many discussions about stigma associated with dementia, how this legitimizes. Sorry, it's the end of my day. It is not the beginning. Give me a hot second. And how it legitimizes, there we go, discrimination against people living with dementia and their families. And so these discussions extended to dementia advocates, allies, people living with dementia, healthcare professionals, carers and care partners, family and community members, dementia advocates, artists, researchers, policymakers, and if I'm missing anyone else, but that's the list I have. And all of whom share a commitment to ensuring that people living with dementia should have equal access to health, well-being, privileges, opportunities, regardless of their legal, political, economic, or other circumstances. And this is where the justice piece is part of the coalition. So to achieve this justice requires education, lobbying, and innovation at every level of society. And there's no one individual or organization that can achieve this on their own. So we felt that as a coalition, a coming together to achieve particular goals, it's what was needed to forge alliances across the globe with people living with dementia, family members and community members, healthcare professionals, everyone I said before, advocates, artists, academics, policy figures, so we could all work collaboratively to challenge stigma associated with dementia. And something I want to point out that's really unique about the coalition is our commitment to the arts as an innovative way to address the social injustices that people with living with dementia face. And since we started the coalition in 2020, we've grown a lot. So we now have 815 members from 34 countries. Yeah, it's really growing really rapidly. Yeah. So before we start with the creative exercise, we're going to play a video from the leader of this coalition, Mary, who's unable to be here today.
Okay.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our June gatherings. I'm so sorry I'm not there with you today, and believe me, if I could have, I would have, because these gatherings are such an amazing source of joy and inspiration. I also want to say hello to all the new members I've had the pleasure of speaking with over the last few months. I'm so glad you can join us. I'm thrilled you're going to be meeting my steering committee colleagues who are leading these sessions, and getting to know members from around the globe who are reimagining dementia in so many amazing ways. I can't wait for the launch of Taking to the Streets this fall so that we can introduce the world to an incredible community that has the courage to say no to tragedy, to shame, to isolation, and a very powerful yes to creativity, to life, to humanity, to joy, to new possibilities. I can't wait to hear what you all come up with for the campaign. And believe me, you're going to be hearing from me over the next few months. But for now, have fun, stay healthy, and let your imaginations run wild. Take care.
Great. It's nice.
Okay. I was going to say thank you, Mary. She can't hear.
I know.
So I'm going to introduce Margot, and we're going to do a creative exercise together. So Margot is a licensed clinical social worker practicing in Naples, Florida for over 35 years. She's presented at workshops and trainings on the healing power of play for 30 years to mental health providers, senior centers, and community organizations. And for over a decade, she's been using improvisational theater games for people with mood disorders, children and teens with ASD and learning challenges, and people with Parkinson's disease and their families. She holds a class every Saturday online for people living with Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders and cognitive impairment. And she follows George Burns's advice that you can't help growing older, but you don't have to get old. So I'm going to hand it over to Margot, and we'll get started.
Oh, thanks, Taylor. Well, hello, everybody. And I'm so happy to be here tonight. We're going to play a really simple game. And I'd like to invite everybody to unmute to play the game. It won't be embarrassing. You won't look silly. So if you're willing to play the game, and it's very simple, it's called Yes, Let's. Please unmute yourself, okay? Great. Okay, thank you. So the way the game goes is I'm going to start, and then someone else will take over and be the leader for a minute, a nanosecond actually, and then that person will call on the next person. So if your microphone is unmuted, I'm going to call on you. And this is the way the game works. I'm going to say, let's go to the park. And you're all going to say, yes, let's. So let's try that. Let's go to the beach. Yes.
Yes.
I know it might be the end of the day or the beginning of the day, but a little more enthusiasm, okay? Cream. Yes, let's.
Yes, let's.
Is it CJ?
Yes.
All you can say is, let's do something, and we'll all respond, yes, let's. And I'll show you one more part of it. If you want to use what we call object work in improv, you could say, let's go fishing. Yes.
Yes, let's.
Okay. Take it away, CJ.
Let's go to the coffee shop.
Yay.
Yes, let's.
My favorite. My favorite.
Taylor.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to bring it down, but let's go to sleep.
Yes, let's.
Yes. I can do that
Take a
too.
look.
Let's take a drink.
Yes,
Let's.
Yay.
Oh, and I'll pass it to Carol.
I guess, am I the only Carol? Okay. Let's dance.
Yes, let's.
Oh, I have to name somebody. Okay, I can't see people. Oh, there we go. Okay, Shruti.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Pictures at the garden.
Oh, they're
Yes.
great.
Let's.
I like that.
And I'll pass it off to Rebecca.
Let's all go eat some cake.
Yes,
let's.
Cake. We like cake. We like cake.
I'll pass it to Emerson.
Let's go sit in the sunshine.
Yes, let's.
Oh, I did what everyone else is doing. I'll call on Kat.
Let's ride a carousel.
Oh, all right.
Yes, let's.
And I'll pass it to Stacy.
Let's take a deep breath.
Yes.
Yes,
let's.
Yay, deep breath.
I'm gonna pick Bev.
Let's go for a walk.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Yes.
let's. Karen.
Let's laugh.
Yes,
Yes.
let's.
Yay.
Emerson.
Me again?
Be our
I
last
don't-
one.
Let's go climb a tree.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, Margot.
Thank you for participating. Did a great job.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. It's always so
Thank you,
nice to
Margot.
get these meetings started just by laughing a little.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So our focus for these June gatherings is to discuss the campaign we are organizing for World Alzheimer's Day, September 21st, and it's called Taking It to the Streets. The idea for this is very much tied to our aim with this coalition to raise awareness about the harms imposed by stigma and to inspire everyone to contribute to fostering a more inclusive and socially just society for everyone impacted by dementia. It's about engaging others in this conversation, exploring where we can collaborate and leverage other collective initiatives to mobilize social change. Given just how hard culture change work is, such a collective effort seems to be the most productive way forward. So we thought it would be productive to have some smaller group discussions about the campaign, specifically to explore what you might already be planning and to come up with other ideas if you're not sure of what you can do in your community on World Alzheimer's Day to support the cause. Who in your communities or networks can you reach out to about the campaign? How can you spread the word via social media, email? How can we build a critical mass of participants for this? So as we go into our breakout rooms, if someone could take notes and then someone volunteer to report back to the larger group for a brief 2-minute summary. So we're going to put you in breakout rooms and then we'll come back and we'll debrief. And also something to think about with our notes, if we can either put the notes in the chat or send them to reimaginingdementia@gmail.com. That way we can collate all the information that we gain over these gatherings and then hopefully share it out with everyone.
Nicolette, and how long will we be in the breakout rooms?
20 minutes.
Perfect. Okay.
So we'll see you back on the other side in a few minutes.
I'm just going to make sure everyone's back. Is everyone back?
Yes, we've had a couple of participants that had to leave.
Okay, okay. I was saying I can never find myself. I never know what room I'm in cyberspace. Okay. So I hope everyone enjoyed, that you all enjoyed those discussions. I thought what we could do is go around group by group, and whoever took notes or whoever wants to present, sort of present what ideas we have for bringing the campaign to our communities. Is there a group that wants to go first?
Okay,
And-
let's do our group.
Okay, and Victoria, and what I was going to say in terms of whoever took notes, you can either type them in the chat, or I'm going to put the email in the chat if you want to email it after, okay?
Well, it made me some refining, but the group will chip in. In our group, we had Bev, Masood, myself, and CJ, and where everybody's here. So it was great, and I learned a lot. There's actually more going on than I realized. So in a nutshell, CJ talked about how you started a collaborative organization touching different groups in your area. And out of that, you're looking at maybe organizing some sort of pop-up event to provide, I guess, some education to see if I've said that right, CJ, that would provide some education to the public about people who are living with dementia.
Yeah.
And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, so that sounds good. Then I'll just say Bev real quickly is she runs a music organization. You create music and not-for-profit organization, and looking at maybe having a social media campaign through using the music. Would that be right? And use it as a way to, educate people. Masood helped us. He's had a special story that he shared with us, and through his insights, talked about the idea of how important it would be to change perception of help change people's perception of people living with dementia, because you get ostracized, or people don't trust that what you can do or you're capable of, or they assume you're not capable of anything. And to be able to change that perception, one way he talked about was setting up stands at shopping centers and talking to people about the whole condition and how to be more, and talk about the positive sides. I think the one thing that came out with the group was talking about the journey of how people are still living their lives and not focus on the end state that a lot of people are afraid of. So help me, folks, if we need to add anything else.
No,
So
that's, I was just saying that I'm part of a research project out of Waterloo. It's a participatory action research project, and part of the work that we're doing is we're interested in facilitating some sort of pop-up event in downtown Kitchener to raise awareness through during Alzheimer's Awareness Month Day.
Thanks,
Yeah.
CJ.
No problem.
That's great.
And Masood, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add, and I've got no problem in hiding the fact that I might be the odd one out today. I am actually living with a diagnosis of dementia and have been since 2010. And the reason why I mentioned the perception was that, you know, the professionals need educating on that. To put my message across properly, I'll give you an example. About 3 months ago, I had my cataracts removed. And when I went to the surgery, I was asked these different questions. Are you diabetic? Do you have any other illness? This, that, the other. I've had triple bypass and all the rest of it. And I told them everything. And then when I said, I've got diagnosis of dementia, the pen went down and the person changed completely. And it was like, do you understand me? Can I talk to you? Do you know what you are having done? And I felt so degraded, and I was offended that you know, I don't know how I kept calm, because I was a professional prior to diagnosis. I was accountant, and I spoke to people at all levels. You know, my client who's a brickie, but I had to be in front of the taxman, be the brickie in front of the taxman. You know, a laborer, a restaurant owner, or whatever. So I was a professional, and I sort of, that's one of the reasons why I didn't blow up, as it were. But this is what needs to be changed, because the minute you mention that you're diagnosed with dementia, it is assumed that you're incapable of anything, you're incompetent, and maybe even dangerous.
Yeah.
And when we go on these stalls that we have in the shopping centers, and I'm there, and I actually did a talk at Bradford University with the student and nurses, and I told them not to introduce me as somebody with dementia. I'll just do the talk. It was 30-minute presentation, and then I'll go into the fact that, you know, so I went there and I did the talk. And then I said to them, I'm going to introduce somebody who's actually living with dementia since 2010. And that person is me. And the reaction that I got from them was unbelievable, which shows that how much people out there know about dementia. And they only know the last stage of it because they've seen their grandma, their mother, their father, whoever is living with it. They don't understand the fact that it's a progressive condition, and it does change. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you can live well with it. I am living proof. I'm living with it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I think that it makes I love the idea of setting up I can't think of the word, but booths or something in a shopping center and being able to interact with people in the community like that. I think that's a brilliant idea. Thank you. Is there another group that wants to share? Yeah, Stacy.
We can go.
Awesome.
So I was in a group with Rebecca, Nicolette, and he's Thomas on the screen, but he wants to go by, I forget, Rob? Is it Rob?
Pat, Thomas,
Pat.
Patrick,
Pat.
or Mr.
sorry.
Pat.
Mr. Pat. And it's so funny that I was placed in this group because Rebecca and we met last week and we both live in New York, and we're planning to put together a fun event within like a park or kind of a community area within New York City where we have different stations, and it's going to be a whole experience that kind of involves people living with dementia, and we're going to have different stations like a cafe station, an interview station, a planting station, an art station, nature walk, and so on. And Pat was so generous in sharing some of the things that he enjoys, and some things like picking up leaves and making art out of it. And we're so excited to incorporate it in a lot of our plans for this event as well. And I'm really excited for this whole experience. And thank you, Masood, for sharing that, because it's totally, I think a lot of education will come from the actions too, and people being involved, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be, everyone's going to be involved, and we hope like children come as well, and everyone can be educated on this.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's a great idea. I love that. Is there anyone else from that group that we missed? I just want to make sure we get everyone. No? Okay. What other groups? Who am I missing? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So I was in a group with Keith, Carrie, and Karen, which I just realized are all K names, so I'm out of place. So Keith is connecting with a local magazine to reach people in his neighborhood and surrounding area. The neighborhoods around there have these magazines, and so it can reach people who wouldn't otherwise hear about this kind of message. Carrie is, for those of you who know, works with the Hummingbird Project, and it's going to be their 10-year anniversary. So she's still thinking on, how to honor both of those, the 10-year anniversary and this campaign, and combine something to do something creative for that. So excited to see what that'll be. Karen is a new member, so welcome, Karen. And she is an advocate and an activist who's caring for her mom, and is involved in so many different efforts and organizations in advocacy for aging and long-term care, has connections throughout the whole country and locally. So there are many possibilities for sharing there. And then I'll be hosting an event called I'm Not a Zombie, which I'm really excited about. It's meant to be in October for Halloween, but I'm gonna probably also do it in September for this. But it's encouraging people to think of their future selves as having personhood and expressing their preferences now. So it's especially for people who are afraid of getting it. I work with a lot of people in their 60s and 70s who are like this, I could get a diagnosis at any time, and helping them feel like I can move forward if I do get a diagnosis. So yeah, those are the four of us. And yeah, it's lovely to talk with everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Is our group last, Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was in a group with Taylor and Kat, who has had to leave, and Margot. So Taylor is working with some other coalition members in Toronto. They're going to be putting on or showing 2 documentaries, and also an art exhibit and possibly an improv activity as well. So Kat with her Dangle and Dot is going to be doing a PSA video, and they're also going to be probably hosting an event featuring Mary Fridley. and sort of speaking about what the coalition's been doing for the past little while. So Margaret thought that she could potentially connect with her local library and perhaps host an event there, something like maybe a film, and also connect with some of the local groups and networks that she knows already. And then of course, sharing the website and the information that we have on there. And then for myself, I'm relatively new to the area that I live in, but I do know I've already connected with our local Alzheimer's Society. So I'm going to see if I can actually speak to some of the people living with dementia that live in my area, and also caregivers, to see maybe and show them, what the event and the coalition, see if they have any ideas for what they would like to do.
Beautiful. Thank you. So many amazing ideas. It's really nice to hear how we're all living in different places all around the world and coming up with these really innovative ways to challenge stigma. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to hand it over to Nicolette to send us off.
Thank you all for joining today. And I didn't introduce myself. My name is Nicolette. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am facilitator for the Hummingbird Memory Cafe, which is a creative and social connection for people living with dementia. So I'll be partnering with Kat and Nancy and Dingle and Dot projects to support their work and see what we might bring from the cafe into that. So thank you all for joining us today. So remember, even though the world is in crisis, we do need creativity and activism to improve the world for everyone who is impacted by dementia. So best of luck with your planning. Remember, the coalition is here to support you in your campaign efforts. And we've already circulated the logo for the campaign that you can use in other supporting materials. And Shruti has been putting in the Taking It to the Streets campaign link in the chat. So if you open up that, it's going to have a plethora of information to support your journey. So thanks to everyone. And we're really excited to send you out with a theme song for our campaign, Taking It to the Streets by the Doobie Brothers. So it seems most fitting for our event. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see everybody. Thank you.
I've had this song stuck in my head for weeks.
Okay, if you are tuning in, this Zoom is the Reimagining Dementia Coalition for Justice gathering. My name is Robin, and I'm going to be one of your hosts. I am an expressive art therapist working in the dementia field in Toronto, and my partner in crime, your co-host, is Jen Hicks. Hi, Jen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our June gatherings. We're so happy to have you here.
Jen is a creative and a movement specialist and is my partner in our company. She helped co-found the Good Conversations, which is a program for people living with dementia. If you are looking for community, ideas, and inspiration, you have come to the right place. Just a show of hands if you're on camera, if this is your first time joining us at a coalition gathering. Hey! Well, very warm welcome to you and to all the folks who are already members. Before we get too far into our agenda today, let's talk about what the coalition is, what you've come into. You are now part of an international organization of people living with dementia, their carers, care partners, family, community members, allies, activists, advocates, health professionals, artists, academics, policymakers, and more. And we all share a vision that we can do better and provide care and support that promotes inclusion, relationships, creativity, joy, and the possibility of growth for everyone impacted by dementia. We are, I'm proud to say, 815 members strong from 34 countries. Woo! Yes. And as I said, if you are looking for community and inspiration and action,
please become a member. It doesn't cost anything. And Jen is going to put a link to our website so you can sign up today. We welcome you. This is the place. At this point, I want to turn it over to Jen. We're going to show a video. Jen, maybe you want to introduce it, from Mary Fridley.
Right. So Mary Fridley is one of the founding members of the coalition, and she's unfortunately not able to be with us today. So she has recorded a short video for us to watch so that she can be here with us virtually. Sorry, I am not showing you the right thing. Just
This is cool though. It's creative and cool.
a bit of artwork there.
Yes. Here comes Mary.
Okay, here we go. That's better.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our June gatherings. I'm so sorry I'm not there with you today, and believe me, if I could have, I would have, because these gatherings are such an amazing source of joy and inspiration. I also want to say hello to all the new members I've had the pleasure of speaking with over the last few months. I'm so glad you can join us. I'm thrilled you're going to be meeting my steering committee colleagues who are leading these sessions, and getting to know members from around the globe who are reimagining dementia in so many amazing ways. I can't wait for the launch of Taking to the Streets this fall so that we can introduce the world to an incredible community that has the courage to say no to tragedy, to shame, to isolation, and a very powerful yes to creativity, to life, to humanity, to joy, to new possibilities. I can't wait to hear what you all come up with for the campaign. And believe me, you're going to be hearing from me over the next few months. But for now, have fun, stay healthy, and let your imaginations run wild. Take care. Gathering.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. We're thinking of you while you're learning and networking at a conference. And now it's my pleasure to keep the momentum going. We are a creative coalition, and so we're going to have a creative warm-up. And let me introduce that concept to you. The Art Gallery of Ontario here in Toronto recently had a fascinating exhibit about the notion of home, how we carry the idea of home with us everywhere we go. So I want you to think of yourself as home, because it's not just private space, it's public space. And I want you to think about where in your home, if you are your own home, where the idea of dementia resides in your personal home. And let me give you a couple of examples of that. I would like to think that in my home, dementia might reside at that kitchen table that is in a comfortable open space with sunlight. Sometimes it does, and sometimes dementia might reside in the messy drawer or in the cupboard down in the basement, where I would prefer sometimes not to go. So I invite you to think a little bit outside the box, and we're going to do two exercises with this concept. One is I want you to take your hand and trace the map of your internal home and put an X in the spots where dementia resides within you. If you want to close your eyes for this portion, let's just take 30 seconds to do that. And I also want to invite you in the chat to write about the places within your own home, your personal home space, where dementia may reside, and maybe where you wish it resided, where it bounces around within your home. I'll be writing about my messy drawer. Feel free to. So I said, while we're just wrapping up this warm up, I said that dementia resided at my kitchen table and maybe in my messy drawer. Does anyone want to call out an idea? Mel, where does dementia live in your home?
Sometimes at my kitchen counter where I need bread.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. So that sounds nourishing, almost fortifying.
Yeah, and like helps me think through things and process stuff and just think and be with it.
Nice. Kate White, where in your personal home is dementia residing for you? Oh, hold on. We want to hear your pearls of wisdom, Kate.
In the garden.
Oh, wow. So very much alive.
Yeah, in amongst nature and the birds and yeah, I have a lovely garden. So I enjoy visiting with the aspects of dementia there, just been reading and stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. Helen, would you like to share? We'll take a couple more. Helen, where in your personal home is dementia?
Well, I had written my office desk where I have paper strewn, but also get a lot done here.
Yeah. Oh, that's very evocative. Let's do maybe Dan, do you want to share where dementia is living in your home?
In my heart, I just all the people that I know,
yeah,
and what they've gone through or are going through or will go through.
Yeah, very beautiful. And the heart has all kinds of colors and spaces in it, doesn't it?
Sure.
Nice. Okay. Feel free to, if another room or location within your personal home where dementia either resides or you wish it resided occurs to you during this gathering, please feel free to jot down your idea in the chats. We'd love to see what you thought of. Let me turn the hosting duties over to Jen and we'll move forward.
Yeah, so we wanted the focus of our June gatherings to be on the campaign that we're working towards called Taking It to the Streets. And this is a series of events and activities that we want to encourage all of you to create in your own communities between September 18th to the 24th, roughly. And we're doing that centering around World Alzheimer's Day, which is on September the 21st. So we really want to tie this to our aim as a coalition to raise awareness about the harms that are imposed by stigma and to inspire everyone to contribute to fostering a more inclusive and socially just society for everyone impacted by dementia. So we really want to find ways to engage others in the conversation, exploring collaborations that might happen, leveraging other initiatives that are going on, all in an effort to mobilize social change. So I just want to take a quick moment here to share the campaign webpage with you that is on our reimaginingdementia.com website. And if you go to this link, which I will post in the chat, you will find under campaigns, taking it to the streets. And there is a wealth of information here. So we have an opportunity for you to use a social media toolkit. So there's been tiles and images put together for you to share your events. If you are creating an event or an activity, we're asking here that you register them for us. And you can also participate by making a donation to the coalition so that people can take these initiatives out into public spaces. So I won't go through the entire web page with you, but as I said, I'll post it in the link and you can have a look. There's some great suggestions for events that you might host or ways to open up the conversation. Here in Toronto, we're going to be hosting a film showing as well as an art exhibition, all centered around dementia. So yeah, really sky's the limit as far as creativity and where you want to take this. So just
awesome. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, and the idea, everyone, is that that logo you're going to see in the social media toolkit, the idea is that there will be some branding around that. While it's local communities who are organizing, we hope that it will be under the umbrella of the coalition's campaign, Taking It to the Streets. At this point now, we're going to go into some breakout rooms. And the idea, if you've not done this with us before, is because we're about 20 people here today, which is awesome. We're going to break out into smaller groups so that we can share what each of us is doing in our own community for the Taking It to the Streets campaign. And if you don't yet have an idea, not to worry, because that's part of the purpose of the breakout room, is to give you ideas and inspiration and support. What else did I want to say about that? We're going to be taking notes. So each group will designate one person to take notes and be prepared to share with us when we come back as a full group. And then also, no pressure, but if you can share your note taking either in the chat or you can email it to the Reimagining Dementia Coalition, just so we have a full record of everybody's ideas, some of those great nuggets of wisdom and inspiration. So at this point, watch for your room, and then we'll come back as a group. Enjoy, everybody.
Okay, just give me a moment to
No problem, Jen. You're doing awesome.
I've got you all assigned to rooms, but I don't think you're getting a message about joining a room. Does anyone see a message asking you to join a room?
Not yet.
Okay.
I had it when I first signed in, but I'm like,
Yes.
why am I going to a breakout room when we're still in?
I had it when I first signed in too.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you resend them?
Because I was adding you to the room. I apologize. This is the first time I've done this, and I didn't realize it was sending an invite as that happened.
No worries. And listen, the couple of things. First of all, Stacy, I'm going to respond to you in real time. I think everyone is in that was in our waiting room. And Jen, we'll give it another minute, but we are small enough right now that we could work together as one group. So let's not sweat that.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to start from scratch. Forgive me.
While Jen is doing that, I can describe for you in a little greater detail. You're doing great, Jen. You're doing great. All with you. We've all been zapped by Zoom, that is for sure. I'll tell you about the Toronto Taking It to the Streets campaign. What we're doing is partnering with a number of arts organizations, the National Ballet School here, worked with some researchers from our University Health Network and some of the senior members of our steering committee to create a documentary called Dancer, Not Dementia, where they showed, I think it's about a 20-minute documentary. Isn't that awesome? So we're going to be publicly showing that film, which talks about how powerful it is to move in your body in a creative musical fashion, and how engaging that is for everybody. Another film that we're going to be showing for that same evening is, Mel, you'll have to help me out. I think it's called Monster or Monster in My Head. Is that correct? No worries. Oh, hey, Margaret. Do you recall what the visual artists documentary is called? Hold on, you're on mute, Margaret.
I'm just going to enlarge, excuse me, I've got the video on my Chrome. I'm just going to find it.
Okay.
Enlarge this
Okay.
thing.
It's all right. My point is, everybody, are we ready to go?
Yeah, I've got it here.
Okay, so the Toronto one is, I think, 3 documentaries talking about partnerships, using the arts to engage, grow, learn, and be mindful in your life through the arts. We're also going to be showing some art created in a number of day programs here in Toronto. Okay, so now we're ready to do our breakout rooms, and we'll hear from other folks about what their communities are doing. Go ahead, Jen. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome. Yes. I hope you had good conversation, enough time to really share and maybe even brainstorm. And I'd love, firstly, to remind you, if you could either put your notes in the chat, or if you could email them to the info at Reimagining Dementia, which I'll put into the chat, that would be really, really helpful, so that we can capture all your ideas and all your enthusiasm. And then I'm going to invite, if there's a spokesperson from each of the groups who would like to share with the larger group what your discussion centered around, that would be fabulous.
I will go first. Jen, we had a rock star group. There are 3 people in my room, Roki, LA, and Mackenzie. Roki is in Arizona, and is on a res. Roki, jump in and correct me, but is it Fort Defiance? Did I get that right? Nice. And she's
Yes, Fort Defiance on the Navajo Nation.
On the Navajo Nation, yeah. And Roki is a caregiver for her mom. And she has an amazing idea to do a walk, something with movement. Yeah, which I love. And she's gonna go on the website and get more practical tips, but I feel your good humor, Roki, and your energy, and I think it's gonna happen. It sounds like a fabulous idea. LA is coming to us from Las Vegas, and she's a playwright. She's written a creative musical dramedy about the experience of dementia from both the person living with dementia and the caregiver's perspective. It's called Wonderful World of Was. And there's already table reads happening. And I think for her, taking it to the streets idea you're already well on your way. It sounds phenomenal. In October, there's a plan for Wonderful World of Was to be filmed before a live audience, which sounds phenomenal. And I hope you will reach out to Nancy Nelson, who's another Rockstar Coalition member in Vegas, who's also connected with Cleveland Clinic. And I was showing LA Nancy Nelson, one of Nancy Nelson's poetry books. Last person in our group was Mackenzie, who is part of what sounds like a fabulous program, Silver Kite, that does activation, creative activation and engagement for seniors and intergenerational populations. And you're thinking of maybe doing something also with movement, maybe utilizing the Let's Reimagine original song and video, and maybe some kind of walk. So we had all kinds of amazing ideas, and you've already heard about our Toronto idea with the documentaries and the art. Who's next? Jen, who was in your group?
I see Helen has unmuted. Helen, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure.
Great, thanks.
I took notes, so I can talk. Yeah, and I don't know if I have all this right, so please, fellow group members, add. So Holly, Marlon was talking about, they're going to be doing a festival. I think it's going to be in September at Manchester, dementia friendly. And it's going to be, the location is being donated. It sounds like there's going to be different performances, different ethnic groups, aiming also to include LGBTQ.
Good stuff.
Really, really sounds very, very exciting. Let's see, Melanie, I think what I have, maybe you could add, Melanie, what I have, you had mentioned also that we want to capture some of these events and post some of the footage on our website, I guess, you know, when we're doing these different events, which would be very exciting.
Can I just add, Holly's event is in Manchester.
Woo!
Got it. Thank you. Did you want to add anything to that, Holly?
No, it's fine.
Okay, all right, sure. Let's see, Valencia is in Seattle, and right now she's new, so she just wanted to learn more about what we're doing. She's worked with people with memory loss, and she's very interested in creating spaces for people with dementia and honoring people with dementia. Oh, Melanie, yes, you talked about the Beethoven method and how you kind of got involved. And leading, which they lead sessions in music and dance. And then I'm in Northern California, and one of the ideas that we're going to be implementing is working with a place called the Elder Ashram, which is a combination assisted living, memory care, and other independent living. There's an organization called Mashup, and we're going to have a workshop there creating hats and then taking it to the street, literally going on a little parade down the street. And we've also talked about having tabling at different places where the public goes by, and possibly having a survey or something to engage people in conversation and sign up to work with us. So, you know, we have an organizing committee, so we have several different ideas right now.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So many interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Involving so many different community members. Wonderful.
I can go next.
Great.
I put all of our shenanigans in the chat already. I had 3 lovely people from the UK, and I was the only stateside girl, so it was fun. Ellie, she works with a CIC program, which is a community interest company, and she's doing photo books with elders, and she was telling us that she just traveled to Bulgaria and went to what I'm assuming is a long-term care community. I'm not certain if that's what they call it in other parts of the world or not, and commented about and we discussed the idea of getting staff to buy into these different creative ideas. Because when she first approached, the staff was like, well, why do you want to give cameras to elders? They're not going to take pictures. And just being open-minded that they were able to get a couple cameras out there, and then some of the elders were using the cameras to take pictures. And
Wow.
she also does intergenerational work, which I absolutely love. And she's doing gardening. And she also works at a university. Ellie's an overachiever, which I love. Justin was talking about his research that he's doing with music and dementia, and also working with long-term care communities and memory cafes. And again, talking about getting that support from the staff workers. Miss Katie is an activist, and at the heart of it, aren't we all? Her husband was a jazz musician. He had passed from Alzheimer's, but she talked about how he would light up whenever he would start playing. And I don't remember who in the group was talking about somebody that they knew that was just, I think it was Ellie, had her grandpa used to play the double bass, and he would stand there like he was playing it. I'm here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I work for the Alzheimer's Association, and I do a program called Memories in the Making, which is watercolor painting with individuals living with cognitive decline. And we journal their stories that they talk about. So I've heard, and I've been doing the program for 15 years. So I have heard incredible stories, and sharing the knowledge of these elders is so amazing. So I love that we're all here together in community and sharing. And I know others of you from other, like the Creative Spark group and other organizations. So keep on causing good trouble. Thank you.
Woo! Awesome.
Thank you. I think we might have one more group, although I'm seeing some notes popping up here in the chat. So thank you for those. Is there anyone who hasn't shared?
Do you want to talk about our group, David?
Oh yeah, sure thing. So we were hearing from Margaret, who was talking about the events going on. I'll just pull my notes up. The events going on in Toronto, which I know, Robin, you've already mentioned, so the film night and art night at Fairview. Nicholas is talking about the work that they're bringing together in Ottawa, bringing together lots of stakeholders and convening people from lots of other organizations, also with a really exciting potential kind of business side partner, using kind of bikes with memory programs, and working with the Social Planning Council of Ottawa. Sounds like it's kind of bringing lots of stakeholders together now at the moment. And it sounds like there are lots of kind of academics involved in Ottawa, which is really good. This is we want kind of all of the researchers and the creatives involved. So that's really great. Again, Nicholas, please jump in if I'm not kind of reporting. We're hearing from Damien about the qualifications currently working through. I was talking about our work at Flourishing Lives. We're a coalition of arts and wellbeing organizations, so we'll be looking to in London, I should say, and we'll be looking to kind of connect up with lots of organizations that we work with, really to be making sure that any activities they're putting on in their localities, whether it's kind of hyper local or regional, that they're chiming with the broader campaign, and they're kind of really connecting with the wider message. And Dan, definitely by no means kind of least and certainly last, but Dan was speaking so beautifully and eloquently about a whole kind of approach to the conversation and bringing the conversation to people on a very kind of clear and resonant level of how do you broach conversations, how do you make sure that people are spending time with people who are living with dementia and giving them the permissions and the kind of tools to start having conversations with people in the first place. And Dan spoke so beautifully about a couple that he's spoken with, and he knows where the wife and that couple was saying, you know, I don't see myself as a carer. We live together, we eat together. You know, I'm not just a carer. So speaking about that kind of that way to help people to see each other and see people with dementia as not just kind of one thing, and really kind of starting those conversations. So I think that was everything from our group, but again, please jump in and say. But I thought that was very beautiful and kind of eloquent starting point for all of the conversations that we're always looking to have. So yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
We have had a couple of people come in late, including June. We welcome you. And for anyone who's missed a portion of this gathering, it's been recorded. So June, if you want to get the whole recap at your leisure, at your convenience, we'll make a recording of this gathering available so you can catch up. But we were talking about what the coalition stands for. You came to the right place for community inspiration and action, and we've been talking about the Taking It to the Streets campaign and getting ideas for doing just that.
Thank you. Yes, I had difficulty getting the link, and then somebody there, an angel, rescued me. So thank you. And I'm going to come on tomorrow, and hopefully the link I was sent is the same link. And I'm close to kind of a longtime activist, close to Mary and many people, Helen, and I'm going to be doing fundraising for the Coalition for Reimagining Dementia. I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll be working with Mary and whoever else is going to be advising me. So thank you. And I'm again, you know, I think I said this already. I'm planning to come on tomorrow.
Perfect. We want to thank you for joining us, for taking time out of your day and evening to come in, be part of the community. If you're not a member already, please check out the Reimagining Dementia Coalition website to join and take a look at our latest campaign, Taking It to the Streets, for all to answer all your questions and give you tools to take our work that we can do better, that we can rewrite the tragedy narrative, that we can bring creativity, imagination, and growth to the concept of dementia. We can together make an impact from one community to the next. Next steps, please keep an eye out for more emails from our fearless leader, Mary. Stay tuned on our social media channels for more information and tips for the coming campaign, Taking It to the Streets. Feel free to watch one of our recorded gatherings for more ideas, to see more members. Anything else, Jen, before we dance our way out? Oh my God, Jen, we did it.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your patience and send you off with some inspiration. So please join us for a minute dance party at the space.
Yeah.
Thank
you, everybody.
Okay, so Pia
and myself, Kate, are hosting today's session. So we're so excited to see you all here. We want a lot of collaborative contributing, so we're leaving lots of space for you to chip in. I'm just doing a brief introduction. So I've just got some notes here, so I might cast my eyes down. So we have an hour together, and our plan is to offer a brief introduction to the coalition, which many of you may know well, but some may be new. We're going to have a kind of brief creative exercise, nothing too embarrassing, just a bit of, connecting through Zoom. And then a bit of, Pierre's going to talk about the campaign, Taking It to the Streets campaign, which is our focus for this meeting. And then we'll be breaking out into small groups, and Romeo is going to take us off to our group discussions. And then we'll come back to the general group for a wrap up and feedback to the group about the conversations we've had. And then we'll be having a bit of a kind of boogie at the end. So we've got some newcomers today, is that right? People who haven't been to one of our events. So we got 3 people perhaps who haven't been along before. So most welcome. For those of you who are new, it was formed in 2020, the coalition, in response to the number of COVID-related deaths associated with long-term residential care, which was both in the UK and US and many parts of the world. And many of the deaths were amongst people with dementia. We had many discussions about the stigma associated with dementia and how this legitimized the kind of discrimination that we felt was going on in relation to this time. And we then, Pia was at the beginning, I joined a bit later, and the discussions extended to dementia activists, allies for dementia, people living with dementia, and their families, and professional carers and care partners and families with community members, dementia advocates, artists, researchers, policymakers, you name it. We wanted people to belong and come together to think about the justice that was necessary to bring to this situation. And we wanted people to have equal access to health, well-being, opportunities, regardless of people's political, economic, or other circumstances. So this is the kind of justice piece to the coalition. So it's not just about getting together, it's about saying there's an injustice here that we want to address as a collective group. So welcome to some new people who are just arriving. So we're just starting with an introduction, Alice and Damiola. So then to achieve this, we need education and lobbying opportunities, innovation at every level in our societies across the world. And there's no one individual organization that can do this. So a coalition was set up, coming together to achieve particular goals, what we need to forge alliances across the globe with people living with dementia, young and old. Of course, many more people who are younger are having this diagnosis. So we wanted to bring people together in this collaborative way. And we wanted to achieve a humanizing vision of a society that's welcoming of all, and in particular people with dementia, and seeing it as a way in which people can contribute and not seen as a deficit, but seen as something that is something we need to welcome as a community, so that people who are living with dementia can feel equal in participating. Something unique about the coalition is commitment to the arts here. So we're committed to meeting crisis with creativity. And it took me a while to kind of think about that. But I think although there's a crisis in the UK, and I'm sure in many of the countries of the world, about the provisions for people with dementia and support, we can find creative ways to meet that. And it's about thinking how we can bring that creativity to this crisis. And the social injustice can be met with creativity as well. And we want to think about the transformative potential of creativity, hence our advocacy for the arts in many, many ways, whether it's music, whether it's arts in the sort of more formal senses, but in the sense of how we all have a spark within us to make connections and a place for people to belong. And we wanted to think about how we can promote personal and social change. And since we launched in 2020, we have grown. We've got now over 800 members and from 34 different countries. So that seems to be quite a magnificent number, and hopefully we're growing. And those of you who haven't formally joined yet, please do. We can put our website in the chat, and over to you, Pia, for our creative exercise.
Thank you, Kate. Wonderful introduction. Before we get to the exercise, Mary Fridley, who coordinates the coalition, typically is the one who leads these gatherings. She wasn't available to lead the June gatherings, but she did create a lovely video message to share with all of you. So we're going to go to that right now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our June gatherings. I'm so sorry I'm not there with you today, and believe me, if I could have, I would have, because these gatherings are such an amazing source of joy and inspiration. I also want to say hello to all the new members I've had the pleasure of speaking with over the last few months. I'm so glad you can join us. I'm thrilled you're going to be meeting my steering committee colleagues who are leading these sessions, and getting to know members from around the globe who are reimagining dementia in so many amazing ways. I can't wait for the launch of Taking to the Streets this fall so that we can introduce the world to an incredible community that has the courage to say no to tragedy, to shame, to isolation, and a very powerful yes to creativity, to life, to humanity, to joy, to new possibilities. I can't wait to hear what you all come up with for the campaign. And believe me, you're going to be hearing from me over the next few months. But for now, have fun, stay healthy, and let your imaginations run wild. Take care.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Rumi. What a fabulous message. Okay, so it is tradition that we begin our gatherings with an opening creative exercise. Unfortunately, the person who was going to lead that today wasn't able to join us, so we're just going to improvise here. So what I'd like you to do is find someone on the screen, and at the count of 3, we're all going to reach out and we're going to express excitement to see this person. Okay, so please take yourselves off mute, because we want to hear all these lovely greetings and excitement. And at the count of 3, we're going to express that excitement. 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Hi.
So good to see you. So good to be here with you.
Welcome.
So excited.
Okay, thanks everybody. Okay, so moving on with the agenda, I just want to say a little bit about the campaign. So I don't know how much you actually know about it, but for these June gatherings, we wanted to discuss the campaign. We are organizing this for World Alzheimer's Day, September 21st, and the name of the campaign is Taking It to the Streets. And the idea for this is very much tied to our aim with the coalition to raise awareness about the harms imposed by stigma, and really to inspire everyone to contribute to fostering a more inclusive and socially just society for everyone who's impacted by dementia. It's about engaging others in this conversation, exploring where we can collaborate, where we can leverage other collective initiatives to mobilize social change. And given just how hard culture change work is, such a collective effort really seems to be the most productive way forward. So Romeo is going to share with us the campaign webpage. Excellent. Thanks, Romeo. So this is from our website, and this is, you can see the logo, taking it to the streets. I did want to clarify there's been some confusion about who is actually sponsoring the campaign events. So the answer really is that it's the participating organizations, institutions, and groups. It's not the coalition itself. We're doing this because the whole point of the campaign is to show a broad range of support for reimagining dementia. So we really want your local communities, press, to know that hundreds of organizations, individuals are getting behind this campaign, which will visually be represented by this gorgeous logo that Robin Gerten and Katja Engel so generously designed. It's fantastic. Thanks, Romeo. If you haven't explored our website, I really encourage you to do so. There's lots and lots of information there. Now, the focus of our gathering today is going to be some breakout groups. We thought that it would be productive to have some smaller group discussions about the campaign, specifically to explore what you might already be planning, but also to come up with other ideas if you're not yet sure of what you can do in your community on World Alzheimer's Day to support the cause. Who in your communities, networks can you reach out to about the campaign? How can you help to spread the word via social media, email, etc.? How can we build a critical mass of participants for this? So Romeo's going to break us out into these groups. I would like to ask that someone in your group kindly volunteer to keep notes. And then, because we're going to be reporting back to the larger group for just a brief discussion. So that way we can all benefit from the insights that are shared in the smaller groups. So with that, imagine away. Thanks, Romeo.
Yeah, no problem. Welcome back, everyone.
Hi, Terry.
I was on mute. Good to see you.
Yeah, really good to see you too. I'm glad you were able to join.
Yeah, I had to.
I think we're just waiting for people to come back.
Yeah, I had to re-register and passwords and.
Oh dear, that was complicated.
But I got through. Yeah, it took
Got
me a
it.
minute.
You made it. You arrived.
Yeah. I just
Romeo,
love. Okay.
I'm sorry?
I love when we get together, the ideas, the fellowship.
Wonderful.
I think
Well,
that's everyone.
I'm excited to hear what everyone discussed. Is this everyone, Romeo? Are we all back?
I think so.
Okay. Kate, did you want to?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Reminding us, I'm so inspired by our small group. I've kind of lost the bit that I'm supposed to be doing this. Okay, so we hope you had a really wonderful time in your smaller groups, and we'd like to hear from somebody in each of your groups to give us a brief resume of the things you've been talking about, and put some in the chat if you want, or bring your notes and send them to Romeo. How do we do that, Romeo?
If you can send the your notes to the Reimagining Dementia email, I'll put that in the chat before we end. I just need to find that. But if you can send your notes from the discussion, that would be great.
Super. So which group would like to start us off?
I think we can go first.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So we're actually gonna we're all gonna share this we're all going to speak to what it is that we talked about. So very briefly, I shared that here in Toronto, we're organizing an event that's going to be a combination of an art exhibit. So we're exhibiting artwork by people living with dementia. And then the second part of the event is going to be screening 2 documentary films. One is called Dancer, Not Dementia. And this is a really exciting collaboration with Canada's National Ballet School. It's a beautiful dance program that they've developed for people living with dementia. And we created a documentary film about it. So Maxine, who was in our group, asked if this could be used by other people. Absolutely. It is free. If you just Google Dancer, Not Dementia, you will find it. It's only 20 minutes and would love for you to bring that to your community. So that was one example. Maxine, did you want to share about your group and your blog?
Just briefly, yes, I was diagnosed with dementia in September last year. And since then, I've really started being a bit of an activist. You can't help it, really. And I'm a writer and a poet and other creative things. And I started at that point a blog about my experience of dementia and this new world that I'm entering now. And I've also started a group which is going to be led by people with dementia in my local area. But it's quite heavy going, some of it. It's quite hard. And I am thinking that we could maybe, because it's very new, we might be able to do something together for the 21st. It would be lovely to do that. And if that's all right, I could put the blog address on the chat. And if anybody's interested in popping in and having a look, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Maxine. Those are all terrific initiatives. And then just very quickly, Demalola, who is also in our group in Nigeria, she and colleagues there are creating materials to raise awareness about dementia, and has this fabulous idea to create very short video that showcases people living with dementia engaging in different arts-based leisure activities, and that being part of this public outreach to educate and to support social change. So amazing ideas. That was our group.
Yeah, Susan, do you want to share for us?
Sure, and jump in if I leave anything out. So Melissa and June and I spoke with each other. Melissa's an artist and June is an activist and fundraiser. And I run an organization in Philadelphia that is creating spaces in which people living with dementia and their care partners can come together and create community with each other through the arts. So we were exchanging some of the challenges that we encounter in this work. One of the challenges being how do we bridge the gap? We strive to create spaces that are welcoming, and Melissa is trying to create spaces where art can be made and people feel safe and valued. And how do we help people to feel the safety outside our safe spaces? So how do they get from where they are to where we are? And so some of the things that we talked about, and please, Melissa and June, please jump in. We were talking about for the Taking It to the Streets campaign. At Arts Philly, we do a lot with storytelling, and perhaps doing an event in which we offer some of the stories that have been shared with us and ask people to respond to them. Just kind of extemporaneously, you know, whether it's we have a table on a sidewalk and that's how we're doing it. June suggested a table where you could have a big canvas or a big piece of paper where people are invited to make their own marks and perhaps start a creative conversation through that means. And we talked with Melissa about how art that she's already worked on with some of her groups living with dementia could be the spur to more conversations with people who perhaps would never have thought that these beautiful works were created by people with dementia. What have I left out, June and Melissa?
Oh, just to reach out to people who are eager, you know, when you meet people, to build with the people who are moved by what you're saying and who are touched by what you're saying, and to not get discouraged by people who aren't ready. Just say, you know, if you're out on the street, so thank you so much. It's really good to meet you. Talk later. There are so many people out there who are looking to connect and are frightened and alone. So just focus on finding those people, because there are many people there. That's one of the things I was thinking that we spoke about. I'm not sure. Melissa, what did you, anything else come to mind?
Yeah, just that there's people who are all over the world, like all of us here, that are like in the same mindset, and that's like really encouraging, like to speak to, like Susan was in like the East Coast and then June was in Philadelphia and I'm in London, and that's like really amazing, like to have that community. I'm loving it.
Yes. Yeah, I think the three of us building together just shows how we can just build and create together. I mean, it's very lovely working with the both of you. Just a wonderful kickoff.
Thank you. So to our next group, have we got two more or just one more group now? We've got
two more.
Britton and Jen.
Yes.
Two more. Okay. All right. So who's going next?
I could talk about my group with Jill and Alice. So Jill is very involved in the California area, and she's been able to put together an organizing committee to talk about event building for September. And so some of the ideas that she's that the group is playing with is outdoor events and bringing in some residents and involving people impacted by dementia. And Alice and I have reconnected, and we are actually both in New York, and I have been talking with another member in Reimagining Dementia. Her name's Rebecca, and we had already started working on building an event that creates some sort of experience for those impacted by dementia, kind of like the Disney for dementia. So it's like we're gonna have little different stations, and it's like different roller coasters, and it's gonna take people on a whole experience of just like cafe stations where people with dementia are serving different pastries, interview stations where we capture the stories, and as well as incorporating nature walks, collecting materials and like leaves and stuff for the art station, and creating some sort of mask or something, and then going off to the dancing station and dancing with the mask. And those are some
very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
And
you.
I've joined Stacey's roller coaster.
Yeah,
Sounds really cool.
Yeah,
So now I'm very aware of our time.
Kate, I just wanted to add some of the activities that we're doing. So the committee was an opportunity to, bring in other people to, create and lead and organize their constituencies, which is important. And one of the things we've been talking about, because I'm also on the outreach committee of the coalition, is creating opportunities where people who normally would have shields in front of them, like not engage in this conversation, not talk to somebody about it, just the whole code of silence, like where can we be and what can we create together where that would open up a door or a window or somebody's mouth or their ears or whatever to be part of this. So I encourage people to think about in that way. We're not necessarily designing and creating activities where we're quote unquote, I hate this expression, I probably shouldn't say, preaching to whatever the converted or whatever that expression is. So we want to reach new people, kind of, and what June said, there'll be people who stop and people who don't. But the fact that they see us or are in a place where this conversation is happening might be new for folks as well. So we're just mixing it up. We're going to be mixing it up in different communities, and we're really going to be organizing activities for that whole week, because it's not just like one day. There's a whole week of celebration, and we've got.
That sounds fantastic, Jill.
Yeah.
I'm just conscious of the time. I'm wondering, because we still need to hear from one other group, but that is fantastic. Really terrific to hear all that that you have planned.
So can we go to Jen and Brittany, who are reporting back from our group?
Yeah, I'm happy to say a little bit because I took some notes, but I also, because my internet cut out and my daughter interrupted, I'm very happy for anyone to chip in what I might have missed. But we identified across the very varied experiences each of us have a few themes that we're quite interested in. Things like trying to break down the fragmentation of there being a sense that there's a bit of a desert in terms of things that are out there for people with dementia, but actually there are identifying that there are pockets of things happening. And so how can we actually put a spotlight on things that are happening and help to kind of reintegrate what seems to be quite a fragmented landscape. Also helping to get that message across around how that things are not all bad, and particularly within the medical space where Brittany's based, that of course there are these really important diagnostic circumstances that need to be understood, but also the broader holistic picture, including something that is actually got a lot of positivity to it. And I think the way Kate put it really beautifully was this idea of dementia being a space where you can actually learn new ways of being together rather than it being a time of isolation for people. So they were some of the key themes that we're thinking about in terms of what's our desire to communicate within this space. Then we started exploring some things that have been successful in terms of previous campaigns, that although we don't necessarily love slogans, looking at the power of slogans and the idea of things like, a slogan that might be focused around ideas of like presenting what it is that people with dementia can do, rather than shifting the focus away from what they can't do. We looked at examples of like the SMILE campaign, Share My Individual Life Experience, which Terry mentioned. A few other projects were mentioned around that. Particularly, Kate was referring to what those of us in the UK will be familiar with, which was the Rainbow exhibition that happened during the pandemic, where people put rainbows up in their own front windows, and that became it was just a very successful, easy, low bar entryway for people to express their view, their support. And so we're thinking, are there similar ways that we could learn from how accessible and effective that was to do something similar? Maybe, as Terry was saying, in America there's this sort of color theme of purple around Alzheimer's. Could that be something, like you have the red nose day, a purple nose day, something like that picks up on some of the visual language that's starting to emerge, and maybe how we can extend that out. But
I also
please do add
thought
to
that-
my group.
Can I just add one about Teresa's idea of bringing flowers and making flowers the focus, and taking flowers to our general practitioners, to our people who are working with dementia, sort of like, and maybe taking it into a park, having something very positive as a sort of an act of gratitude. Yeah.
Those are terrific, terrific ideas. I'm just conscious of the time. So I'm just going to, Kate and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Do remember that, you know, even though the world is in crisis, we really do need creativity and activism to better the world for everyone who's impacted by dementia. Best of luck with your planning. Do remember that we are here to support your campaign efforts. We have already circulated the logo for the campaign so that you can use this in other supporting materials. So many, many thanks again for joining us today. We are going to leave you with Taking It to the Streets by the Doobie Brothers, which seems most fitting.
I like that.
There'll be a recording of this session, by the way.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you.